All right, all you devils out there, happy Friday. Here we are, the 18th. Well, it's kind of late for me here. It's 11:45 here, but of course we're going to take a look at Bitcoin. Now, for members here, I'm gonna guess that many of you have got half of these at least. If you're watching on YouTube, this will be a test, right? It'd be curious to see how many of you got this. Because this literally should blow your mind, and it's really I say that partly in jest, partly if you're not aware, this will blow your mind. And it's such great evidence of how totally dominated the markets are by algorithms. So you have to know how they work, what they do. So I'm just going to build the case here. Now I do have my current primary count on it, and just those of you that are, well, of course, members or regular viewers here, subs on YouTube, will recognize that this count has been modified and changed as the market has revealed itself as we move. I think at this point, the strongest case right now is that we have our 3 here. I'm going to build that case. Now, nothing says that we couldn't go higher and that we must now retrace here, but this is such an astonishing cluster here. This is such a technical pivot here. It really is. I mean, shit, I've been doing this for almost 30 years. It still just blows my mind. Okay, so let's build the case one at a time, and then we'll back into the count. Okay, so question always, why does it stop there? Right? I mean, we're just going straight up. Why do we stop there? Okay, let's build the case here. So I'm going to just layer these on one at a time. Now I've got an 8-hour here up on Coinbase here. See what we can identify with that pivot. In addition here, of course, I've just drawn the channel here to kind of frame the geometry. Okay, let's start with the first one. Now the first one is how we're taking the length of the 1, projecting from the 2, and then looking for a technical pivot up here to help us identify where that 3rd is. Excuse me. So let's take the first one. Let's go ahead and show that one. Length of the proposed 1 wave here. All right, I think at this point here that we're starting to get some clarity here. We get a clear ABC. This was always a bit of a question mark because it was so shallow. Now we've gone 1618 to the tick. Right, right? As you guys know, I say this all the time. Where's the highest probability location to find the 3rd? Right there, it's to the tick. Okay, so let's keep going. Now the next one here, let's pop this on here. Right, is the one that we're looking at. Members all know this because we had a golden corner here. So I'm taking the swing pivot here up to this prior high, down to that retrace, and we go up. Well, you can see it again here. So it's 1618, 175. Okay, that's the second one. Now let's add another one here. All right, now here I'm taking the internal division here. I'm taking the length of the proposed 3rd wave here, projecting from the 4, and I'm going up exactly 618, that length. So the length of the 3rd projected from the 4th, common technique, right? Looking for confluence to identify a pivot high, looking for the 5. Now we've got 3 of them there. Okay, let's keep going. Now we'll take the last one here. All right, let me pull this off so you can see what I've got here. All right, so I'm taking, it's a little hard to see it here, so I'm going to wiggle it here. So well, let's see, maybe it's easier down here. All right, so I'm taking, come here, the length of the 3rd here, right? Now I'm identifying the 3rd here because I think we go into an expanded B wave here to give us our C. All right, so I'm taking the length of that 3rd, so we get an algo target here. So it's the length of the 3rd. We're looking for the 4, high probability for the 4. The highest probability is between the 23 and the 38. We get a little structure here. Now that goes from here, from this pivot, we go right to, you can see it right here, the negative 618. Boom. Absolutely unbelievable. 4, derivative, either 1618 or 618, all hitting that cluster there. And what do? Right? Now, that doesn't mean we can't go higher. It just means you understand why we stopped there. That's just an astonishing cluster of technical analysis right there. That's why you do it. So now, there's a little bit of a hesitation here because the subdivision here makes you ponder just for a second here. And we're going to look at that. We'll break into it a little bit. But right now, there's no reason not to put the third here until proven otherwise. But now, as we go down to the smaller time frame, there certainly is the possibility as we stall here, this is starting to look four-ish. And then the subdivision here is a little shaky. But that cluster here is just astonishing. It's absolutely astonishing. Well, it is to me. So maybe you get off on that the same way I do. If not, right, well, then just call me a TA geek. But that, like I said, almost 30 years of doing that still just blows my mind. So there you go. That's why we stopped there. So let's pull some of this off here. I'm just gonna hide them, right? If you are taking notes here, it wouldn't be a bad idea to see if you can reproduce it. Now that I pulled it off here without what I've just done, see if you can find them yourself, right? It's always the thing. That's what we're always looking for, right? Keys to the puzzle. So now as we look at it here, I think this count is starting to solidify. Now there's some additional technical components here. We go down here and look at our indicators here. So I've just wicked off some of the peaks on the RSI as we got up here. So when we're getting up into, above 90, it's reasonable to anticipate that you might get some sort of a pullback. Not necessarily a trend change, but it's very rare that we sustain. I mean, here, where it's all relative. But when we get up to these levels, 95, 92, what do we get here? 92 on this one. It's just, the market almost needs it. A retracement is not a negative, and a retracement is essential to getting the next leg up. So well, I understand, right? It's human nature. Oh, keep going, right? I'm long as hell, so I feel that sentiment. But you want the retracement, not only for the market just to be able to continue, and it's almost like rebuilding the energy. We need the retracement. We need weak longs to be shaken out so that we can now continue on with the trend, because it does not appear, technically speaking here, if we're applying our Elliott count, it does not appear that we have our absolute high here. Now we'd be anticipating a 50% retracement. So can we use the Elliott here to help us identify, right? So we know we have a candidate here for the 3 based on that massive cluster of 618s there. So we have a candidate, but if you look at it here, right, one of those that we looked at, well, here, let's just recreate it. One of them that we looked at here is right here, right? So this, and we know that, right, as we talked about, and you see it right there, that this was also a golden corner, right? So just to add, oh, it's so amazing, right? So just to add to it, right? Right from a golden zone here, right? So note here, we go up, we go golden zone here. That's what gave us the golden corner pocket, right? Now we hit the median line right here. Well, pardon me, it was right here. Now let's just put it back together. All right, golden corner, right? All-time favorite trade, right? That's Trade Devil's original, right? What? So, right, 80% probability. Right? I always say this, right? It's because I have to emphasize this. As long as this pivot holds, right, 80% probability that we get to the median line, right? Again, as I've said this many, many times, but for new members, new subscribers, where else in trading do you get 80% odds? That's a rhetorical question, because there is no other place. Seriously, I say that, I'm in jest a bit. Literally, if I had to have only one trade, it was the only trade I could put on, that was it. In every asset class, would not matter. That's what I would take. I mean, really, you could do it even without the fibs, right? The median line is more powerful, right? But you add into it the algorithms that are sitting here, right? That sit and wait, right? We showed it last week, right? You know how they work, right? They start buying at the 50. See the little pause here? We get a little reaction at the 50. If it rolls over, they defend at the golden zone. Up they go, right? Now you add the median lines. That's the highest probability trade in trading, period. Period. There's nothing else even close. The only thing that would be close would be selling options. But selling options, there's additional risks there. We know, but most of you, maybe you do know, 90% of all the options that are purchased expire worthless. So thereby, 90% of all the options that are sold expire. Right? So the seller keeps the money. Now, you don't necessarily always have to go to expiration, but that's a very high probability trade. Danger is, right, that one time that it blows up, I've been on the wrong side of it. In fact, the biggest loser I ever had in my trading career was a crude trade where I had sold way out of the money options, way out of the money. And then we had the Gulf War, and crude exploded, and that was a big loser, right? I'll never forget it. But I just want to emphasize, particularly for new traders, right? This trade, this has to be your number one, right? Just in terms of the odds play, right? The golden corner, again, doesn't have to be golden, right? And this could break. See, we could go down to the 786, right? The odds play to the median line doesn't change. We could go all the way, it doesn't change, right? So that's why I say the median line is more important than the golden corner. The golden corner just means that we know we have an algorithm behind us, right? We can tuck in behind them and ride it either to target, and well, in this case, we went right to the negative 100 because it went from golden zone, right? So there you see the 618. Right? That's a trade that has to be, you want to be constantly looking for it. Again, if I could only pick one. Now, we add into that, all right? So I didn't mean to get on a rant there. I just want to emphasize particular members, right? That has to be what you're looking for everywhere, all the time, every time frame. If you want to be successful, that's how you do it. Okay, so having said all of that, let's pull this off here, and then I say, hey, is the Elliott count helping us here? Well, right now, see, I'm out here on an 8-hour. Does that look like we completed 5 there? Not really, does it? Right. So if you go down to the hourly, could it be done? Right. If we is there a 5 in there that we could finish this? Well, yes, there is. Right. But it's a bit ugly. Oh, let's see. We'd have to do it this way. We'd have to go into a 1. Probably it wouldn't really matter. You'd have to do it right here. You could get it done. I mean, it's skinny. That's a mighty skinny 3-4, but possible, right? So you wouldn't invalidate any Elliott guidelines here, right? Any rule set here. You could get it done, but does that look right? No, not really, does it? Right? So what you're inclined to want to do is say, well, shit, that looks a whole lot more like that's my third at this degree, 1, right? And then add into it, right? That we just looked at, right? This went exactly 1618. So now you're going, wait a minute. Is it possible here that we've gone 1, 2? Well, I think that actually is less likely if we work backwards. Right? Now, of course, this could change, right? It could change over time here if we continue to roll higher. But I think we go 3, 4. Remember, that was a technical pivot that gave us the 618 up here. I think we go into the 5 of the 3 at this degree. This is our 4. It doesn't matter how you. This could be A, B, C, W, X, Y. It doesn't matter. This is our correction. Now we go up here. Now this is starting to look a whole lot like a 4, isn't it? So now you're thinking, maybe a triangle. Now we're going to go higher. Well, certainly we could. Just because we had that cluster there doesn't mean we must stop there. But you can understand why we stopped there, right? It's just a massive, massive collection of 618s, right? So algorithms are all triggered to that, right? So that's why we pause. Now, if we're going to go up again, right? Well, now we're looking, okay, beyond the 175 up to the 200, 2618. I mean, if something's going to go 2618, right? Bitcoin would be a strong candidate for that. I'm inclined here. I'm just kind of watching here. So I wouldn't be a seller up here. Right, and there's no if you're a hodler, right? We're not going to sell up here, right? We're just going to continue to ride the train. So this question is, well, if you're not in or you want to get longer, how can I get longer here? Well, you got the very skinny 2, so already it's a little tenuous. But if you're just itching for it, well, you draw it up, right? Same as we ever would, right? It's okay. Where am I looking for that? Well, if it's going to hold in a triangle, I don't love that enough here to be buying up at this level. That's maybe, again, as I said last week, right? This is up to the individual, right? So I didn't take that trade. Right? I wanted to be sure members that wanted it, that was there for you. But I'm so bloody long already. I didn't feel like there was some question mark here as to where we were, even though it was a beautiful trade. I'm so long. I just wasn't comfortable adding even more to it, because I'm already plenty long. So even though I recognize it here, I reap the benefit of it. I didn't personally put on more weight there. But I know many of my members did, right? So always glad to see that. So right now it looks like this very, very well there could be one more little kick up here. Right? We'd get a cleaner finish. Now, again, the algo target could go higher. We're just kind of projecting here. You got to lay out some sort of a roadmap. So you're kind of prepared for whatever is going to happen here on this finish. Now, we could have finished via that very skinny little impulse that would be there, but it just doesn't have the right look. So I'm inclined to think that there's a little bit more here, maybe down to the center line. That would certainly be a reasonable spot for it. 23.38 here. I think I just pulled that off here. Let me just use the lowest pivot. we get right here. So anywhere in here, I love, if we go to the 50, right, then we get an algo. Although that's a secondary pivot. So be careful here. I don't love this, right? I mean, I like this better. So this, again, I would pass on that. This is me personally, right? I don't need to be much longer. Okay, right? I mean, I would like to see a little structure there. So we're up here now. There's no support until if we hold here for a little bit, we're going to build a little base from which we can launch. But obviously, right, the bigger base is down here, right? If we come down a little bit lower, you might anticipate, okay, where is the bigger opportunity to get long again? Well, whether it's here or we've got another leg up to get a cleaner finish here, we're waiting for the 4-5. Right? And of course, nothing says that we're going to have a skinny 5, right? No telling how high that goes. We could have a raging extension in the 5th. Why not? Right? No reason we couldn't. Let's pull back out to that 8 and kind of just do a little projecting as to where we are. All right, hang on one sec. Hot in my office. Get the fan on. All right, so let's just kind of play this out. Well, let's just take the low of the 2. Now we don't, right now we've got that technical cluster up here, but let's just say we get another leg here and we get a cleaner finish. Well, anywhere in here, right? What we actually see, it would be a better setup for the buy into the 4 if we get that additional leg, because we don't here. Okay, we could come down to the 23, that's fine, but it's a little tenuous. I'd rather have us go a little higher so I can get right in that pocket. If I draw it this way, if I can get right in that pocket, right, where's my high probabilities on? So all we're doing is playing probabilities. 23 to 38, I like that 4 right in here. Right, that I love, right? So if we could get long here, so we could get this hot here, we can get long here going up for this. And again, nothing says we have to stop here. Right? We could just keep going. Something along these lines. Now we're talking about completing the impulse off of the low. So, right, a lot of people, right, it's funny, right? So people look at Bitcoin, a lot of people do, and I heard this commentary yesterday, and it made me laugh, right? It's so true. Whether we're talking about the market, whether we're talking about Tesla, whether we're talking about Bitcoin, people say, oh, it's a bubble, right? It's a bubble. It's overvalued, it's overbought, it's a bubble. Well, what really is code for is people that are long, that are making money, and the people that are not long or not long enough bitching about it, right? That's all that means. Oh, it's a bubble, right? So you hear that talk going on right now. People say, oh, Bitcoin's in a bubble, right? So the correction is inevitable, right? It's sour grapes, right? I'm not long, or it's not as long as I want to be, so it's a bubble. Well, maybe it is. I would call bullshit on that one. Look for your opportunity to get long instead of whining about it being a bubble. So where's the next opportunity? Well, if we're going to use structure, I mean, this is not hard to spot. Right? Again, I'm just taking the 2 pivots, just kind of drawing a little hot zone down here. If we could get a nice little 3 to come down here, right? We take advantage of the geometry that's there. That's the trade, right? Now that's what I'm waiting for. Something a little bit stronger here that I can get that out of there. I think I made the point. We can use a little bit more, so we can get a cleaner finish on this last impulse. If that's gonna be our 3. 3 down, right? Play off the structure. Now we know we have a base here, so that we can anticipate. Again, nothing says it couldn't break, right? Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But if you're looking for the place to get long, well, again, that's not rocket science. So what are we talking about here? 20K, right? Which was for how many years? 3 years, right? That became the number psychologically. The market just was wrestling. We would go up and we'd touch it and couldn't get through, touch it, couldn't get through. That's just what you want. So if you're anticipating, if we retrace, large players are going to want to test that, right? They want to test it, see what the supply looks like there, right? It's more likely to be found in the futures market, right? So what's the supply like there? Well, is there going to be a bunch of sellers there? There's no certainty in trading, right? Let's be clear about that. But if you were going to identify the location where you might anticipate that you'd get some opportunity, well, you'd be right at the 38, right? I mean, that's the trade where you can be aggressive. Now, that doesn't mean lever it up I wouldn't. Why? You don't want to lever it up and be squeezed out by a deeper retracement. There's no, you know, unless you're day trading, there's no reason, in my view, right, to lever that up so that you just become one of the weak longs, right? So you become bait for larger players because they can push you out on that leverage. You don't give them that advantage over you. They've already got enough advantage. Don't give that to them. Right, so if it goes deeper, right, shit, nothing says we couldn't go to the 50. We could go down to some of this lower structure. Shit, we could go all the way over here. There's nothing says that can't happen. So don't make yourself vulnerable to that. Right? There's no need. Right now, it's not the kids' tuition money, right? But you know, you got to do your own risk assessment as to what you can comfortably sustain there. But that's the trade you want, right? And it's not, again, it's not hard to figure that out. Just some rudimentary Elliott. Now this gets a little tricky in here, right? And I guarantee there will be 12 comments under this video with guys giving me their counts, right? Which I look at them. I'm always open to that. There's a number of ways you could count this, right? I mean, number of ways. I mean, it's so extended, right? You can the subdivision in here is, you know, probably 4 different ways you could count it. But this, the technical pivot up here is that, you know, so again, so why does it stop there, right? So now if we're going to finish here more cleanly, a little retrace down here, that's worth waiting for. So all those bubble people, you know, it's funny. Oh, it's in a bubble. Once it starts coming down, right, will they have the balls to step in, right? Usually not, right? So what do people like that do? They wait until it's safe. They wait until they, oh, it's safe, right? Is it safe now? Is it safe? Well, by the time it's safe, now what are they doing, right? They're buying the breakout, right? What do we know about buying breakouts, right? That's what retail does. Like, why? For that same very reason, psychologically. Oh, it's going up. It's going up. Oh, it's about to break out. What, you know, what do large players do? They just bend them over. So it's like, you know, what's happening up here. Right? You don't buy the breakout, you buy the retracement. It's a simple concept, right? It's not complicated to figure out. It's just a smarter way to do it. Are you going to miss some trades? Of course you're going to miss trades, right? Plenty. I mean, you could just go through this and, hey, well, what if you bought that breakout? What if you bought that breakout? Yeah, but that's, you know, would you have sustained through any of that volatility? The point is, let them put it on sale. At least get a little discount. Don't pay full retail. That's just, I mean, it's just, again, after having done this for a long time, I can tell you that is the less intelligent way to do it, right? Be a smart trader, not a greedy trader. You know, once you're in and you get that turn, you're going to, not only that, the satisfaction is just far sweeter, right? Oh, thanks for putting it on sale. I was just waiting for that. So if we're going to get that, right, this is the area we're looking for. Right? We want the retracement. Right, we want the RSI to cool down a little bit, come down to the 50, right? So then we know we've got all that upside there. All right, I don't know if there's much more I can add there. It's just great, right? So this is a great exercise here for any aspiring Elliottician. Go work through that count, right? I'm not saying that this is the right count. This is a count that is consistent with Elliott concept and fib relationships, but there's other ways to count it. I know a number of people, and for a long time we thought, oh, maybe this one is here and it's 1, 2, right? We considered that. I am now locking this in as my primary. That doesn't mean it wouldn't change. Could be different next week, right? Depending on what happens. Right? The idea is not to lock it in and say, well, that's what it will be and must be. The idea is right now, this is a snapshot in time. Right now, this is the count that makes the most sense to me. Right? And that's what you want to get to. You don't want to be dependent on me or watching these videos. You want to get to the point where you're comfortable with your own analysis. That's all we're trying to do at Trade Devils, is teach you how to do it yourself. All right? Okay, what do we do? Well, 24 minutes. I don't know there's much else I can add here. Maybe take a look at Ethereum. I'm going to post that up for members. Okay, guys, there you go. That's 24 minutes of my thoughts on that. Hope that's helpful to you. Right? Certainly. Right? I'd be curious how many of you, if you got it, post it in the video. How many of you had all 4 of those 618s there? Be curious. Okay, guys, have a good one. Be back to you. Members will be back on Monday. Okay.